Imagine discovering that the day you were born may carry a hidden energy that makes your Virgo nature even stronger than most people realize. What if certain Virgo birth dates hold a deeper level of intuition, intelligence, and inner power that quietly shapes the way you see the world? Virgo is often known as the thinker of the zodiac, the observer, the one who notices the details everyone else overlooks. But what many people don't realize is that within this calm and analytical sign lives an incredible hidden strength. A strength that doesn't always appear loud or dramatic, but reveals itself through wisdom, perception, and an almost mysterious ability to understand people and situations with surprising clarity. Some Virgos seem to naturally carry this energy more intensely. They walk into a room and immediately sense what is happening beneath the surface. They read between the lines. They pick up on emotions, patterns, and signals that others completely miss. It's not something they learned. It's something that seems to come from within them. And astrologers have long suggested that certain birth dates within the Virgo cycle may amplify these qualities even more. People born on these specific days often show an unusually powerful combination of Virgo traits: a brilliant analytical mind, extraordinary attention to detail, a strong sense of purpose, and a quiet but undeniable inner resilience. They are the Virgos who tend to transform challenges into wisdom and chaos into order. You may have noticed this in your own life. Maybe you've always felt slightly different from others. Maybe you've been told that you think too deeply, analyze too much, or notice things that no one else seems to catch. Perhaps people often come to you for advice because they trust your judgment, even if they can't quite explain why. That's not a coincidence. Virgo energy is ruled by Mercury, the planet of intelligence, perception, and communication. But when this energy becomes especially strong, it creates individuals who possess a rare ability: the power to understand life with remarkable clarity. These Virgos don't just observe the world, they decode it. They see patterns where others see confusion. They bring solutions where others see problems. And although they may appear calm on the outside, their minds are constantly working, analyzing, improving, and evolving. In this video, we're going to reveal the Virgo birth dates that many astrologers believe carry this intensified energy. If you were born on one of these days, you may discover that the qualities you've always had, your intuition, your sharp mind, your deep awareness, are actually part of a much bigger astrological pattern. So stay with me until the end, because one of these dates might be yours. And if it is, you may finally understand the hidden Virgo power you've been carrying your entire life. Have you ever met a Virgo who seemed to have something different? Not just organized or detail-oriented, but someone who seems to see things that no one else notices. Someone who understands situations before they even happen, who analyzes everything with almost frightening precision. If you were born under the sign of Virgo, there's a good chance you've already felt this within yourself. Because the truth is that some Virgos seem to carry a much more intense energy within the sign, a sharper mind, a deeper perception, and a silent strength that many people simply cannot explain. But what very few people know is that some dates within the Virgo sign seem to concentrate this energy even more strongly. Most people believe Virgo is just the sign of organization, routine, and perfectionism. Many see Virgo simply as someone critical or excessively detail-oriented. But that is only the surface, because behind that image there is something much deeper. There is a mind that analyzes invisible patterns, a perception capable of understanding hidden intentions, and an emotional intelligence that often goes unnoticed. To some people, a Virgo may seem quiet, but to those who truly pay attention, they are almost impossible to deceive. This is one of the great hidden strengths of the Virgo sign. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. In this video, you will discover which dates within the Virgo sign many astrologers consider the most powerful. Dates that are often associated with Virgos who possess an extremely analytical mind, a highly developed emotional perception, and an incredible ability to understand people and situations. If you were born on one of these dates, it's possible that you carry one of the strongest energies in the entire zodiac. So keep watching, because your birth date might be among them. But before we continue, if you enjoy content about astrology, personality, and the mysteries of the zodiac signs, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and activate the notification bell. That way you won't miss the next messages and discoveries about the zodiac signs. Now let's discover something truly interesting about Virgo, an extremely powerful analytical mind. One of the most remarkable characteristics of Virgos who carry a stronger energy within the sign is, without a doubt, their extremely powerful analytical mind. It's not just about being intelligent or observant. Something deeper is happening in the way these individuals process the world around them. While many people only see what is on the surface of situations, Virgo tends to go beyond. They observe, compare, analyze, and connect information in an almost automatic way. It is as if their mind is constantly searching for patterns, trying to understand the reasons behind things, and mentally organizing everything that happens around them. This process often happens silently. On the outside, a Virgo may appear calm or reserved, but inside, their mind is working all the time. Every detail, every gesture, every word spoken in a conversation can become an important piece in the puzzle they are mentally assembling. This ability allows many Virgos to develop an extremely accurate perception of reality. They can notice inconsistencies that others fail to see. They can identify problems before they become obvious. And often, they can predict outcomes simply by observing small signals that most people overlook. Because of this, Virgos are often seen as excellent problem solvers. When a complicated situation arises, they usually don't panic right away. Instead, they begin analyzing the scenario calmly, separating each element of the situation and trying to find the best way to deal with it. This analytical ability is also deeply connected to the planet that rules Virgo, Mercury. In astrology, Mercury represents the mind, reasoning, communication, and the ability to process information. When this energy manifests strongly in a Virgo, it creates an extremely active and curious mind. These individuals rarely accept things just as they are presented. They like to understand how situations work, question superficial explanations, and search for deeper answers. That is why many Virgos have a natural ability for fields that require analysis, logic, and attention to detail. But like every great power, this characteristic also has its challenging side. A mind that analyzes everything rarely manages to simply switch off. Many Virgos spend long periods reflecting on decisions, revisiting conversations, or trying to better understand certain situations. At times, they may appear critical or overly detail-oriented in the eyes of others. However, most of the time this happens because their brain is naturally programmed to seek precision and coherence in everything. When they learn to balance this ability, Virgos transform their analytical mind into one of their greatest strengths. They become people capable of seeing solutions where others see only confusion. And it is exactly this ability to deeply understand situations that makes some Virgos seem to possess a wisdom far beyond the ordinary. A mind that observes, analyzes, and understands the world with impressive clarity. A perception that captures small details. Another extremely remarkable characteristic in Virgos who carry a stronger energy within the sign is their incredible ability to notice small details. While many people go through everyday situations without noticing subtle changes around them, Virgos usually capture information that seems invisible to most people. This perception doesn't happen only on a visual level. It involves behavior, emotions, body language, and even small variations in people's tone of voice. It's as if Virgo has an internal radar that is always active, analyzing the environment and registering everything that happens, even things that seem insignificant. For example, in a normal conversation, most people only pay attention to the words that are being spoken. A Virgo, on the other hand, often perceives much more than that. They notice an unexpected pause in someone's speech, a subtle change in facial expression, or even a contradiction between what a person is saying and the way they are acting. These small signals end up revealing important information. Many times, Virgos can sense when something is not right long before the situation becomes obvious to everyone. This allows them to develop an impressive ability to understand the environment they are in. This sensitivity to details also manifests in other ways. Virgos often notice mistakes that go unnoticed, identify flaws in plans or systems, and detect aspects that can be improved in almost any situation. Because of this, they are often seen as extremely careful, organized, and precise individuals. In work or study environments, this characteristic often becomes a great advantage. While other people focus only on the final result, Virgos pay attention to each stage of the process. They analyze whether everything is functioning properly, whether something can be optimized, and whether the small elements are truly aligned. But this sharp perception goes far beyond organization or logic. In many cases, it is directly connected to the way Virgos observe people. They can notice when someone feels uncomfortable, when tension exists in an environment, or when something is not being openly said. This ability can make Virgo an excellent observer of human behavior. Often, they understand what is happening around them without anyone needing to explain anything. However, just like with their analytical mind, this intense perception can also bring challenges. When you notice so many details at the same time, it can become difficult to ignore problems or inconsistencies that other people simply overlook. This can make Virgos appear critical or overly attentive to mistakes. But most of the time, this attitude does not come from a desire to judge others. It comes from a natural desire to improve things, to fix what is not working, and to bring more harmony to the environment. When this ability is used with balance, it becomes one of Virgo's greatest talents. The power to observe deeply, understand what is happening behind the scenes, and notice details that can completely change the way a situation is understood. It is precisely this attention to small signals that allows many Virgos to see the world with a clarity that very few people possess. A silent intelligence. One of the most fascinating characteristics of Virgos who carry a more intense energy within the sign is what many people call silent intelligence. Unlike other forms of intelligence that seek to stand out or attract attention, Virgo's intelligence tends to manifest in a discreet, calm, and often almost imperceptible way to those observing from the outside. Many people associate intelligence with someone who talks a lot, constantly demonstrates knowledge, or feels the need to prove they know more than others. However, in the case of Virgo, the process is usually very different. Virgos tend to first observe, listen, and analyze before expressing any opinion. They rarely feel the need to speak just to impress. Instead, they prefer to deeply understand what is happening around them. While others are arguing or trying to prove who is right, Virgos are often silent, absorbing information and connecting ideas. This form of intelligence can sometimes cause people to underestimate Virgo at first. Because they do not usually place themselves at the center of attention, they may appear simply reserved or shy. But over time, it becomes clear that behind this calm behavior, there is an extremely strategic mind. Virgos tend to think before they act. They analyze possibilities, calculate consequences, and consider different scenarios before making a decision. This careful way of reasoning often leads them to make more balanced and effective choices than decisions made impulsively. This silent intelligence also appears in the way Virgos learn. They pay attention to details, observe behaviors, and reflect on past experiences. Every situation becomes a source of learning. Over time, this builds a very solid base of knowledge. Another interesting characteristic is that many Virgos prefer to demonstrate their intelligence through actions and results rather than just through words. Instead of saying what should be done, They often show and practice how to solve a situation efficiently. This attitude tends to generate respect over time. People who live or work with Virgos eventually realize that even when they speak little, their observations are usually extremely precise and their advice very well thought out. However, this quiet form of intelligence can also bring challenges. Since Virgos do not always express everything they think immediately, some people may not realize how much they truly understand about certain situations. Even so, this characteristic becomes a great advantage. While many people are carried away by momentary emotions or impulsive reactions, Virgos maintain a more reflective and strategic posture. And it is precisely this combination of observation, analysis, and mental calm that gives many Virgos a remarkable presence, even without needing to speak loudly or attract attention. In the end, Virgo's intelligence does not need applause to exist. It reveals itself in a discreet, consistent, and deeply effective way, showing a mind that prefers to understand the world deeply before trying to dominate it. A natural ability to solve problems. Among the most impressive qualities of Virgos who carry a stronger energy within the sign is their natural ability to solve problems. While many people feel lost or overwhelmed when facing complicated situations, Virgo tends to react in a different way. Instead of panicking, their mind automatically begins searching for solutions. This happens because the Virgo mind works in a very practical and analytical way. When a problem appears, Virgo rarely sees only the obstacle. Instead, they immediately begin to break the situation down into smaller parts, trying to understand exactly where the root of the difficulty lies. This way of thinking allows them to transform seemingly complex problems into simpler issues that can be solved step by step. Instead of seeing only chaos, Virgo tries to identify patterns, causes, and possible paths to reorganize the situation. Many times, this ability appears almost automatically. While others are still trying to understand what is happening, Virgo is already mentally evaluating possibilities, calculating risks, and imagining strategies to resolve what needs to be resolved. This ability makes them extremely reliable during difficult moments. In work environments, for example, it is very common for people to turn to Virgos when something is not working properly. They often have a special ability to identify exactly where the mistake is and what needs to be adjusted. But this characteristic is not limited to practical problems. It also appears in personal relationships and emotional situations. Virgo often tries to understand conflicts, analyze behaviors, and search for solutions that bring more balance to the environment around them. It is as if they have a natural impulse to organize not only objects or tasks, but also the complex situations of life. They enjoy finding logic in the middle of confusion and transforming disorder into clarity. This practical mindset is deeply connected to the essence of the Virgo sign. Instead of acting impulsively, Virgo tends to carefully evaluate every detail before making a decision. This greatly increases the chances of finding efficient and lasting solutions. However, this ability can also bring some challenges. Because Virgos quickly recognize what needs to be fixed, they may end up taking on responsibilities that are not necessarily theirs. Often, they feel the need to help solve everything around them. This can create moments of exhaustion or overload, especially when other people constantly expect them to have all the answers. Even so, this ability to find solutions remains one of the greatest strengths of this sign. When they learn to use this skill with balance, Virgos become true strategists of everyday life. People who can face challenges calmly, analyze situations intelligently, and transform problems into opportunities for learning. In the end, this natural ability to solve problems reveals one of Virgo's greatest qualities, the power to bring order, clarity, and direction even in moments when everything seems confusing, an inner strength that few people notice. Among all the characteristics that can exist within the sign of Virgo, perhaps one of the deepest and also one of the least understood, is the inner strength that very few people are able to notice. Unlike other signs that demonstrate their strength in more visible ways, Virgo usually carries their true resilience in silence. On the outside, many Virgos appear to be calm, reserved, or even overly discreet people. They do not usually seek the center of attention, nor do they feel the need to constantly prove their worth. However, behind this calm appearance, there is an emotional structure much stronger than most people imagine. This inner strength comes mainly from the way Virgo faces life. Instead of reacting impulsively to difficulties, they tend to observe, reflect, and learn from every experience. Even when they face complicated moments, their mind tries to understand what can be learned from the situation. This creates a kind of silent resilience. Virgo may go through intense challenges, frustrations, or disappointments, but they rarely allow these experiences to destroy them. Instead, they absorb the lesson and move forward with a deeper understanding of themselves and the world. Many times, the people around them do not even realize how much they are dealing with internally. This happens because Virgo does not usually dramatize their struggles. They prefer to resolve their conflicts privately, organizing their thoughts before sharing what they truly feel. This attitude can make some Virgos appear emotionally distant or excessively reserved. However, in reality, what exists is simply a very particular way of dealing with emotions. They feel deeply, but choose to process those emotions with calmness and reflection. Another important aspect of this inner strength is the ability for self-development. Virgos often have a strong desire to constantly improve. They observe their own mistakes, analyze behaviors, and seek to evolve over time. Instead of remaining stuck in the past, they try to transform each experience into a step toward personal growth. This search for improvement often makes many Virgos become extremely mature people as the years go by. The more experiences they accumulate, the more they develop wisdom, balance, and clarity about life. That is why people who live closely with Virgos often discover something surprising. Behind an apparently calm personality exists someone with an enormous capacity for resilience. Someone who can fall, learn, reorganize themselves, and move forward even stronger. This is the true essence of this characteristic. Virgo's strength is rarely loud or dramatic. It does not need constant recognition to exist. It grows in silence, strengthens through experience, and reveals itself in important moments of life. And when this inner strength fully reveals itself, it shows something that few people notice at first glance. That behind the calmness and discretion, there is a resilient mind, a deep awareness, and an extraordinary ability to keep evolving no matter what challenges appear along the way. In the end, Virgo was never just the sign of organization. Virgo is the sign of the mind that observes, analyzes, and understands the world in silence. And when this energy appears in its strongest form, it creates people capable of transforming any challenge into learning. Now I want to hear from you. What is your birth date? Write it here in the comments, because you might be among the strongest Virgos in the entire zodiac.